Now for our story. This afternoon, Aunt Mary's pretty niece, Peggy, and Nicholas Dorn, her fiancé, are sitting on the front porch of the Lane farmhouse in Wakefield.
Well, Peggy, I have good news for you.
Good news? What is it, Nick?
I had a letter from my agent today. He just sold those 2 stories I sent him a while back.
Oh, Nicholas, I'm so glad.
Yes, I'm quite set up about it. I was beginning to think I couldn't write anymore. Sometimes I sit for hours staring at a blank page. You know who comes between me and that nice white sheet of paper?
Who, Nicholas?
You, my darling.
Well, I don't want to be a hindrance to your writing, Nick. I'd like to be a help to you.
You will be. Just knowing we'll be together. Knowing I can walk into a room and see you there. Love's the darndest thing. I certainly never thought I'd feel this way again. But I do.
Nicholas, I don't want you to be disappointed in me. And, well, there's so much I don't know. In the first place, I'm an awful dope about writing. You know that.
No, you're not. Your tastes aren't quite formed yet, that's all. It'll be all the more fun watching you blossom out. Besides, there are a lot of things you can teach me. You've taught me a lot already.
I have? I can't imagine what.
Oh, lots of things.
Such as?
Well, let me see if I can tell you. The way the beginning of spring smells. The wonderful excitement of watching the sunrise. The special little sound you hear if you sit very quietly on a riverbank. Not to mention the strange way a hen acts when she decides to raise a brood of chicks.
That's a funny sort of education to be acquiring. Besides, I didn't teach you those things. You found them out for yourself.
I never would have without you.
I don't see what I had to do with it.
I've had a great deal. Because I love you. That's the wonderful thing about being in love. Everything is sharper, clearer. All your sensibilities are quickened.
Oh, Nicholas, I only hope you're right.
About what?
That I will make you happy. I want to so much because you mean so much to me. But sometimes I'm afraid.
You mustn't be.
But I mean, the way things are with us.
You mean because you don't love me?
Well, yes.
But don't you see, darling? As long as I know it, the fact that we've been honest with each other makes all the difference in the world. Besides, you're forgetting that good old masculine ego.
Ego? What has that to do with it?
Well, the fact that I'm foolish enough to think you'll learn to love me. You know, I just can't believe you won't eventually succumb to my great charms.
Well, I hope I will, Nick. You know, it isn't that I don't love you. I do. It's just that it's a different sort of love.
I know, darling. You're not in love with me. There's quite a difference.
There seems to be. I'm not sure I understand it myself.
Well, we're both lucky in that I'm not inexperienced. I happen to know exactly what you mean.
That's good. Nicholas, I'd give anything in the world to change, to feel the way you do.
Perhaps you will, darling. But you mustn't try to force it. That doesn't work.
No, I suppose not.
Just relax. We'll see what happens. Don't worry. I'm going into our marriage with my eyes wide open. So you mustn't ever feel the least guilty, no matter what happens.
Thank you, Nick.
Well, your friends Lily and Dell must be just about getting to Chicago by now.
Yes. It was awfully nice having them down here over the weekend.
Yeah, I imagine it was. You know, I like that Dell. She's quite a character.
Dell's very nice. What did you think of Lily?
Lily? Well, she's certainly good looking. She's got that, whatever it is that always attracts men.
I know.
It isn't just that she has a beautiful figure and a good-looking face, either. It's something that's very hard to define.
Chemical. Why do you laugh?
It always amuses me to hear you being wise and sophisticated.
You'd be surprised some of the things I've learned.
No, I wouldn't. Not really. You have a certain kind of feminine insight. You get things without a lot of conversation. It's one of the things I love about you. And I think of some of the babes I've known, all so glib. They can talk for an hour explaining one little emotional reaction they've had. But the talk is all from the outside. You know what I mean?
I think I do. They don't really feel things inside.
Exactly. They're so busy thinking about how things look, they miss finding out what they are.
I feel sorry for them.
So do I. That's why I'm so happy since I came to Wakefield. Here, a guy can look reality right in the eye. Nothing in between to distort the truth.
Well, I think Lily gives people the wrong impression sometimes. The way she acts, you think she was awfully, well, tough, I guess. But she's not really underneath. She doesn't want people to know that. It's as if she were protecting herself from something by pretending she doesn't give a darn about anything. And you know what, Nick?
What?
I have a funny little feeling that she and Randy sort of like each other.
No. That seems an odd combination.
Just the same, from things they've both said, I think I'm right.
Well, in that case, it'll show up one way or another pretty soon.
You mean when Lily comes down here to run that supper club thing Aunt Mary's boosting for the young people?
Mm-hmm.
I only hope Lily can get down in time for our wedding. I'd sort of like her to be my maid of honor. But of course, there's Jane Plummer, too.
Oh, well, we can work it out somehow. But speaking of the wedding, hadn't we better begin to make plans?
Hi.
Oh, hello,
Hello.
Lefty. You arrived at a very important moment.
Oh?
Yes, Peggy and I were just about to start making plans for the wedding.
Yes, Lefty, and we may need your advice.
Fine. I just hope you're going to make a celebration of it this time. Orange blossoms and everything.
I want to, Lefty. Only, instead of orange blossoms, maybe I could carry a bouquet of your delphiniums.
You might do worse. Except they're kind of large for a bridal bouquet. Well, have you decided when this shindig's going to come off?
And the sooner the better for me. What do you think, Peggy?
Well, if we're to make an affair of it, we'll need some time to get things ready. How about a month from now? Summer weddings are nice.
Maybe we could have a garden wedding. Bring the preacher out here.
That might be nice.
It'd be a great thing for me. Having my own little Peggy married in my garden.
Well, let's think about it then. I'd love it.
So would I if it could be arranged. And, darling, I want to see you all in white satin, with veils and everything.
So do I.
Oh, you will, I promise.
Oh, wonderful.
You bet your life it's wonderful.
Well, I'm going to have a ring bearer and bridesmaids. Lefty,
Yes, honey?
I want you to give me away. Will you?
Yes, Peggy. Yes, honey. I'll give you away.
Lefty Larkin had to look away to hide the rush of emotion Peggy's request had given him. He was thinking,
Yes, Peggy, dear. I'll give you away. Peggy. Grown up. To be married. And she's happy. I know it. Del Shipley's crazy. Trying to tell me I should talk Peggy out of marrying Nicholas. I know what's right and best for my own daughter. My own daughter. And now, she's to be a bride.
yes, Lefty, you sincerely believe Peggy will be happy with Nicholas Dorn? But perhaps you're wrong. For Del Shipley knows that the baby boy which stands as an obstacle between Peggy and Bill Meade, the man she really loves, is not Bill's child, but is the child of Lisa Fenner. If Peggy knew this, it might make a great difference in her wedding plans. Del is trying to save Peggy, your daughter, Lefty, from great unhappiness. But will she be able to bring the truth out in time? Now for our story.
Well, Peggy, I'll let you and Nicholas iron out the rest of the plans for your wedding. After all, what can an old fogey like me know about things like that? Randy's over in the orchard. I'll go see if he needs any help.
Peggy Douglas, Aunt Mary's niece, smiled a goodbye to Lefty Larkin, the man who for so many years had concealed the fact that he was the young girl's father, was known as Aunt Mary's old friend and helper. Nicholas Dorn gave him a friendly wave. Lefty cut across the lawn toward the orchard.
Hi, Lefty. Where you been? I was looking for you a while ago. I was up in the front porch talking to Peggy and Nicholas. Well, Randy, won't be long now before the wedding.
Oh, that's so? Have they set the date?
Yeah, about a month.
I see. Well, if Peggy's made up her mind, there's no use in postponing it.
That's the way I feel. Yep, they're planning quite an affair.
Formal?
Oh, I Don't know about that, but Nicholas wants her to wear the full regalia. White satin dress and veils. She's planning on bridesmaids and stuff. Wants me to give her away.
Oh, it's swell.
Yep. Makes me very happy. And they talk like they might hold a ceremony here in the garden. My garden.
Oh, that's fine, Lefty. But,
What's the matter?
well, I only hope she's going to be happy.
Why wouldn't she be?
Oh, I don't know, Lefty. I just wondered about Bill.
Oh, Bill.
But you can't just brush it off, pal. Peggy was very much in love with Bill. And I have a hunch she still is.
Oh, rats. She's in love with Nicholas. You can see it in her eyes. And they're going to be married soon.
And live happily ever after, just like in the movies, huh? Well, I only hope you're right.
I am. You can bank on it.
I can't help feeling kind of sorry for Bill, though. That poor guy's taken quite a beating, all in all.
My eye. He knew what he was doing when he married that Calvert girl.
I wonder if he did.
Well, why didn't he? He's not 15. He's a grown man. If he was such a cluck as to mix himself up with that gang, what happened since then's on his own head. I'm darned if he'll get any sympathy from me.
Now, who's that? Well, speaking of the devil.
The devil is right.
Hi there, Bill. Come on over.
Hi, Randy. Lefty, how've you been?
Okay.
Had Mary in the house?
No, she went over to visit Mrs. Plummer for a while.
Oh.
I think she'll be back before long, though.
Well, I haven't an awful lot of time. I just dropped in to thank her for something she did. Is Peggy around?
Yeah, she's around. She's up on the front porch with Nicholas Dorn.
Oh. Well, maybe I'd better...
They're planning their wedding for next month. They're thinking of having it out here in the garden. Peggy wants to make a big fuss over it, you know. After all, she only intends getting married once.
How's your job getting along, Bill?
What's that? Oh, my job. It's fine, thanks, Randy.
Good. Mom's very proud of you. She says you've done some very good things. That Italian family, for instance.
Oh? Yeah, they were pretty much on their uppers. We arranged a loan for them, and they're doing very well now. Got most of it paid off and going strong.
Oh, that's swell.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta get busy and finish painting the back porch before it gets dark. I'll see you later, Randy. And Bill.
So long.
I'm sorry about Lefty, Bill.
That's okay, Randy. I understand it.
It's too bad he feels that way. It makes it tough for all of us.
Oh, well, I know how he feels. I don't blame him. He'll never forgive me for having hurt Peggy. I'll never forgive myself, for that matter.
Gosh, I don't know. People get themselves into the darndest messes, don't they?
They sure do. And once you're in one, it's a question whether you can ever straighten things out. And that's what I wanted to see Aunt Mary about. She's been trying to help me get my life into some kind of shape.
Oh, Mom's wonderful that way. She usually can see a way out of people's troubles, if they'll give her half a chance to help them.
Yeah. Well, she certainly did me a good turn. I guess you know they awarded the baby to Kit when we got the divorce.
Yeah, sure, I heard about that.
Well, the thing is, it's been driving me nuts, see, thinking of that kid of mine growing up under Ben Calvert's influence.
Well, I don't blame you, Bill. I'd feel the same way if I were in your spot.
I talked to my lawyer, Angus McKillop. You know him?
Oh, sure I do. Big, lanky, red-headed guy. Quite a character.
Yeah, he's a very smart man, though. Well, anyway, I wanted him to petition, reopen the case and see if we could possibly get the decision about custody reversed.
Uh-huh. What'd he say?
Absolutely no soap. Said we couldn't possibly win on the evidence we have. Or rather, the evidence we don't have. Told me I'd just be wasting my money and his time. He talks straight from the shoulder, you know. No hemming and hawing.
Well, where does Mom come into all this?
Well, that's the amazing thing. I don't know how she did it, but McKillop's agreed to do what he can. Told me I had Aunt Mary to thank for the fact that he's going against his better judgment.
Oh, good for Mom. Yeah, she usually gets her own way when she goes after something she believes in.
I know. It sure threw me for a loop. Because he'd said absolutely nothing doing the last time I talked to him.
Oh, that's swell, Bill. I sure hope it works out.
Well, if it doesn't, it won't be McKillop's fault. Once he does take over, according to everything I heard, he's real dynamite.
Well, we'll hope it pans out then.
Yeah.
What'll you do if it doesn't work, though? If your ex-wife wins the case anyway?
I don't know. Gosh, my life's been up in the air for so long, I can't imagine what it would be like not to have something hanging fire. To know where you stand once and for all. I sure have learned a lot through this whole thing. But I wonder if learning about these things ever makes much difference.
Gosh, I don't know. Does seem as if people have a special talent for getting themselves into emotional jams.
Yeah. Of course, you've been lucky. I can't imagine you getting yourself all messed up. Somehow I think you're the kind of guy who'll coast along without being too much affected one way or the other.
Yeah?
You were lucky having a mother like Aunt Mary. She probably gave you some pretty solid ideas while you were growing up.
Oh, that's true. She did.
Makes a big difference. And now, to tell the truth, I never thought much about girls while I was going to school. Didn't have much time, for one thing. Working my way, kept my nose to the grindstone.
Yeah, it would.
So, when I finally did begin to think about them, it hit me with a jolt.
Uh-huh, big flash. And you wondered where you'd been all that time, huh?
More or less.
Well, you'll know better next time anyway.
Yeah. If there ever is the next time. And on the way, I envy you, Randy. Knowing your way around, not being bothered and upset. No emotional complications. You have no idea how lucky you are.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
But a little later, as Randy Lane watched Bill get into his car and drive away, he thought,
no emotional complications, huh? Lucky? Well, sure, that's right. Yet, funny, when Bill said that, it sounded wrong. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm not so lucky. And when Bill said that, wonder why it suddenly reminded me of Lily. The day she worked in the garden with me. She looked lovely. Sort of as if she belonged. Talking that crazy lingo of hers. Trying to pretend she's tough and cynical. Lily Devon. She'll be coming back here before long. She'll be around a lot. Funny, I keep thinking about her. Can't seem to get her out of my mind. Better watch my step. Maybe Bill's wrong. Maybe I'm not as smart as he thinks I am.
yes, Randy, perhaps when Lily Devon returns, you'll find the even, simple pattern of your life very much changed. Now for our story. Tonight, in his house on 11th Street, Ben Calvert opens the door of his study, flicks on the light.
Kit, good heavens.
What's the matter, Dad?
What are you doing? Sitting here in the dark.
Oh, nothing, just thinking.
You gave me quite a jolt. I thought you were upstairs.
I'm sorry if I startled you, Dad.
Oh, it's all right. But why didn't you turn on the lamps?
Oh, I don't know. I hadn't even noticed how dark it was, to tell you the truth.
Well, your thoughts must have been pretty far away then.
I guess.
Kit, I don't know what's the matter with you. I thought once the divorce was over, once you got custody of the child, that you'd begin to snap out of it. Be more like your old self. Instead, you seem to be crawling more and more into your shell. I don't like it. It's not healthy.
Healthy? Is there anything healthy about this house?
There's nothing wrong with this house. It's the best place in Wakefield.
No, don't be so literal, Dad. I was thinking of the feeling in the place. You and Jessie, all the bitterness in both of you.
What about yourself? You and Jessie. You never say a decent word to each other.
No, I know. I'm not defending myself. But you asked me why I haven't been in a more cheery mood since the divorce, and I was trying to give you my reasons.
Well, I'm sure I don't know what you want or expect. It seems to me I've done everything a man could to make his daughter happy.
You really believe that?
Certainly. If you can tell me where I failed.
Oh, Dad.
I got you the best lawyer in Chicago. He won your case for you.
Yes. That is, he won it for you. It was to your own interest, too, remember?
You have custody of your son.
Have I really?
What do you mean?
You know what I mean, Dad. How can you say I have custody of my child? When I told you I wanted to go away for a while, take the baby with me, you raised the roof.
That's another story. Naturally, I won't have you dragging my grandson around all over the country. I'm thinking of his welfare.
You know, Dad, you're an amazing person. Sometimes I can't decide whether you do these things consciously or whether you actually convince yourself of what you want to believe.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, whenever you want something very much for yourself, you always try to make it appear that you're doing it for someone else's welfare. Then, if they don't like it, you can always accuse them of being ungrateful.
Kit, if you
Look
can't...
at the present situation, for instance. You have several reasons for wanting me to stay here with the baby, and none of them has anything to do with what I want for myself.
Maybe you don't know what's best for you.
There you go. That's just what I mean. I happen to know exactly what would be best for me. To get away, out of this house, to have some peace of mind. But you don't care about that. You want me here because my being here drives Jessie into a frenzy, and you enjoy seeing her suffer. It's your way of striking back at her for whatever wrongs you feel she's done you.
I'll admit I don't mind giving Jessie a few uneasy moments. She has it coming to her.
And the other reason you want me here is for your own ego. Because of the baby. You want to shape him into a little replica of yourself. So that he'll grow up with your ideas, your approach to living.
That's only natural. He's my grandson. He belongs here with me. And if you were sensible, you'd realize that the best thing for you is to stay right here and settle down, too. We've won, Kit. Can't you get it through your head? Can't you realize it? You have nothing whatever to fear now. You're secure.
But Ben Calvert might not have been so sure of himself had he known what Angus McKillop, Bill Meade's attorney, had in his pocket at this moment. Angus, who has just walked up the steps to Bill's little cabin in the Wakefield Auto Court, knocked on the door.
Good evening, lad.
Why, hello, Mr. McKillop. Come in.
Thank you. I will. I'm not interrupting you, I hope.
No, I should say not. I'm glad to have a little company. Sit down, won't you?
So, this wee place is your castle, eh?
Yeah. It's not much, but I'm used to it.
That's all a man needs. Clean, tidy. I suppose you're wondering why I came.
Well...
Never mind. I'll tell you.
Okay. But first, can I fix you a drink?
Hey, you can.
Swell. It'll take just a second.
That's just what I need for the night's work. All the loony, crazy, nonsensical things.
What's that?
Oh, nothing, lad, nothing. I have a bad habit of talking to myself. The years are creeping up on me, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I haven't got any ice.
Ice, you say. Now, what would a man be wanting with ice to water his good whiskey?
Okay. Now, here we are. Say when.
When? Just a nip, you know.
Yeah. Gosh, I guess all the stories I've heard about the drinking prowess of the Scotsman haven't been exaggerated.
Yep. Here's your good health. Nothing like a little swallow or something to warm a man's innards. It's a chilly night out, and they have a long wait where I'm going.
Well, you have to go somewhere when you leave here?
That I do. And like as not, it's a wild goose chase at that. Me, a respectable lawyer, stealing about in all hours, meeting people in the dark. Nonsense. That's what I call it.
Hey, what's all this about?
I don't know myself. That's what irks me. Here. Read this, lad.
Okay. Dear Mr. McKillop, regarding one of your clients, I believe I have some information which might be of interest to you. This client is Bill Meade. If you will be at the square opposite the courthouse on the north side tomorrow evening at 9:30, you will hear something which may prove very valuable to you in this case. Well, I'll be darned.
Is that all you have to say?
What's not signed? That's funny. I wonder who...
So do I. I've been wondering since yesterday when the thing came.
Where did it come from, Mr. McKillop? Did you notice the postmark?
A fine lawyer I'd be if I'd missed a thing like that. Of course I took notice.
Well, where did it come from?
From Wakefield.
Wakefield? Oh, gosh, this is the strangest thing I ever... What do you make of it, Mr. McKillop?
Nothing so far. It may be a prank, or it may be much more than that. I don't know. But I intend to find out if there's anything to be found out. A fine fool I'd look sitting there on a park bench waiting for a mysterious stranger and like a silly detective in a murder story.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry you have to go through all this. If you'd rather back out.
What? After giving my word to Mary Lane that I'd fight through to the bitter end? If the end's to be bitter, that is. We'll hope it won't be.
Well, Aunt Mary told me about talking to you, and it's swell of you to be willing to help. I mean, I do appreciate your continuing on with the case.
You've Mary Lane and my conscience to thank for that. But never fear, I've given my word. I'll stick to it.
I know you will. Aunt Mary feels very hopeful now. She says when you make up your mind to win a case...
Don't raise your hopes too high. The higher you go, the further you'll have to topple from.
Oh, yeah, but even so, I feel better than I have for weeks. Because if anybody can win custody of that son of mine for me, I know you can. I guess I don't need to tell you how much I'm hoping.
No, you needn't tell me again, lad. You've made your feelings in the matter clear enough. It's not that I blame you. I know very well how you look at it, but what with your bairn being in charge of Ben Calvert, it'd be enough to give one bad dreams, thinking what that man would be teaching the boy as he grew up.
Oh, that's what's been driving me nuts, thinking about it. It would be swell if there really were something in this letter business. Something which actually would help. I can't imagine what it could be. How could anyone know anything that would make any difference? I mean, anything that we haven't already thought about.
That's what I don't know, lad. But I'll know very soon. Well, it's 9:10. I better be going.
Well, thanks for letting me know what's happened. I'm sure curious to find out what this is all about. Will you let me know as soon as you can?
Of course I will, lad. You've got a right to know what kind of foolishness this is, isn't. So I'll gather my long black coat about me and steal forth to the appointed spot.
Well, good night, Mr. McKillop. And good luck.
Good luck. Aye. We'll need it.
In spite of McKillop's warning not to let his hopes rise too much, and in spite, too, of the lawyer's tone when he said, "Good luck, we'll need it," Bill Meade couldn't help feeling a new rise of optimism. Perhaps, after all, the mysterious letter would prove to be helpful in its suit for custody of the baby boy he believed to be his own. But who could have written it, Bill wondered? Well, he'd have to wait for the answer to that until his next talk with Angus.